Hey guys, it's Kevin. I hope everybody's doing well. Today I'm just going to go over some information and some things with just basic wire wrapping. So, I don't know if my microphone is working. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it's working. Yay! All right. So, I'm just going to do this live really quick. Now, I happen to find these Aura quartz crystals recently, and I like them. I thought they were very pretty, very simple. So this is good for a simplistic type of wrap, which I'm going to be doing today. So let's jump right into that while we're doing it. Let me get some silver wire. And I also found some twisted wire at my local Michael's store. So this is a 24 gauge, so this is really small. But let's start off with the 18 gauge. And we're just going to wrap one of these pendants really quick. Something very simplistic, nothing overdone, overrated, just a basic wrap. And these will be on sale at the vendor event that I am going to on the 11th of August, which is here in Orlando. So if you are local, please come out and say hello. Going to be at the nighttime market, and I believe it's in Avalon Park, if I'm correct. So we're going to start off with 3 pieces of 18 gauge silver wire, which is a silver plated wire, not sterling silver. And I'm going to use this twisted wire. Haven't used a twisted wire in a long time, but I just want to try using it again because it's very pretty. Oh, there was 2 there. Okay, 1 second. That back in. No, they were both connected at the same outlet. There we go. Okay, so we're going to take quite a bit of this. And cut a little piece off. This is just, again, going to be a basic wrap, nothing really fancy or anything. So let's just go ahead and wrap our wires we normally do for our base. Six times around that way. And again, these are just basic wraps I'm going to have at the Marketplace Nighttime Festival on the 12th of August. Okay. Move that to the center. Run a few more times. The nice thing about the twisted wire, it gives it kind of a diamond-ish effect against the stone, so it looks very pretty. If you're looking for something with a little more sparkle than just the stone itself and just a basic round or square wire. That's good. Okay. Let's go ahead and chop that off. That to the side. And make sure these are nice and tight. They don't move. And this will be for the base of our stone itself, which is a pink aura quartz stone that I'm working with right now. Let's take these, and we're going to bend these up. Same thing on the other side. Then bend them up. And this will be the base. And now we're just going to mold this stone and the wire together. Mind you, if you have any little wires, like I have one hanging over here, you can fix that towards the end, which is a better thing to do than to just simply put everything together. Go. Ready. So that will hold the stone in place. Make it a little bit more centered. Go. Okay, we'll take our stone out. And we'll start our wrap. So I decided I was going to start doing vendor events or shows again because online sales don't go that well these days, unfortunately. And I think it's because with the coming out from the whole pandemic situation, people are really looking forward to getting out of the house, which I completely understand. Can appreciate to no end, let me tell you. But also because when you're dealing with something that you're purchasing that you're going to wear, you do want to see it in front of you so you can measure if you really like the item or if you don't. So that's one of the basic reasons of why I'm going back to doing vendor events. Plus, it's a lot of fun to meet people and to talk with people about your craft and what you do and what they do and so on and so forth. And I'm going to bend these to the side. And the first one in front, we're going to bring that back up to the middle. And we're going to start wrapping these. So I'm just going to keep this very, very basic. Nothing fancy. Because, again, this is just going to be a regular or quartz pendant. I don't have entry-level pricing. Unlike a lot of my items that are very intricate or can be very intricate. But this is just your basic pendant. And this is also a good starting point for people who are looking to start their own wire wrapping. Jewelry, there we go. Okay. So as you can see, it's a little bit of luster. Let me turn the other light on really quick. Okay, maybe that'll balance this out a bit. It's a little bit of luster to it, kind of a diamond effect, but it's very small, so it's not overbearingly bright. It's not something that is going to blind somebody when they pick up the jewelry or when you're wearing it. Just very subtle, very nice. And we're going to make the bail out of this. As always, you want to pull forward and then motion it to the back, like so. That gives you your bail. And as always, like I usually do, is I will take this and simply go through around both sides to secure the bail in place. And as always, I'm using Parawire, which is my favorite brand to use, as you've seen in other videos, when it comes to plated type of wires. And they just have excellent quality for the finish on the wires. I'm going to wrap it around again. Go. And we'll do the same to the other side. Wrap that around the second time. like so. Why don't you pull those together? So they're all nice and tight. Okay. And we're just going to clip those. And finish those pieces off since I'm already done with them. And we'll take this and wrap these around. Like so. And then just crimp them into place. There we go. Okay. So that is our bale attached to our main set or our setting. That up a little bit. Okay. And again, down here you see these are coming undone. That's okay. We could fix that once we're finished. So now what I'm going to do is just pop the stone back in. Very carefully. Okay. And now we're going to move these away because now we have the shape of the stone again in our setting. So we're going to open these up a little bit. And put our stone in, which is going to secure it permanently. So it's up a little more. Okay, there we go. So now our stone is officially in the setting. Now you want to crimp the front and the back so it stays in the actual setting itself. And this pendant will actually become two-sided. And you don't want to crimp too much because you're going to take away from the stone on showcasing it. There we go. Now our stone is officially set. Okay, so these little pieces down here, what I'm going to do is see how far they're coming off, because this is a very, very small wire. So I'm going to simply cut those off since they're so small. That way nobody gets damaged by the small wires, and then crimp them in place. Excuse me. And then we still have these wires back here that are a little sharp. So I'm going to take my wings, these wires over here, and just wrap them around. Like so. And I'm sure you've seen me do this on other designs because this is something very simple, but it's very effective if you want to make just a general basic pendant without any type of flair, or if you're looking to make something that's not too extravagant, just for your basic everyday wear, this is a good option. And crimp these in place. So I'm going to take this and do the same with the other side and cross over this way. Bring them across the front. So, and they don't have to be matching perfectly. You can have them off a little bit, or you can have them perfect if you feel that you need to do so. That's fine. Take these funnel wires and push them around and put them in place. There we go. And that's it for the first pendant. Like I said, it's very basic. It's not a lot of work, but it does make a nice gift for someone, or if you're looking to make it for yourself, it's a good thing to have for yourself. But very basic. Excuse me. The wire itself, again, it is power wire. The stones actually came from Michael's. They were on sale. So I decided I was going to buy them because I really like them. I love aura quartz for the shine that they have on them. So that's the first one. Let's go with another one. Let's go with a regular clear quartz. That's an aura quartz also. But it's not any color. It's just clear. So let's do that one. We'll do that one in silver too. This one I'm going to do a little bit different of a design. You can cut maybe 6 inches, 8 inches. And instead of having 3, I'm only going to do 2. And you'll see why. Okay, so this one, I'm going to do a little bit differently. Just because I want to do a wrap around instead of just a basic wrap like this one. I'm going to be wrapping around the stone. So for this one, I'm going to use a round wire instead of the other wire that I had. If I can find the end of this, that'll be great. Come on, where are you? You know what? Let's go with the twisted wire. So we go with the twisted wire again. And this time you want to take off quite a bit because you're going to be doing a lot of wrapping. This one's going to be a little bit more intricate. So let's say, 3 feet, maybe 4 feet. I'm going to start on this end up here. I'm just going to wrap this around a few times. Go and take our tail and wrap that around. I'm going to move this up, pinch it together. And I'm just going to make this a very simple, very simple wrap. Wrapping it 3 times. Maybe once over. Wrap it 3 times. And back in the center. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One thing that's really great about twisted wire or pre-twisted wire is it doesn't kink quite as easily. So that's a plus. Because if you know anybody that does jewelry design, or if you personally do jewelry design, you know that you can get kinked wire and it is a pain in the butt to fix sometimes. 2, 3. And this is actually making the bail. So we're starting with the bail, and then we're going to move into the design or wraparound for the pendant itself. Okay. That's kind of what it looks like so far. And it may not go into focus because of the diamond look of it from the twisted wire. But you just keep going until you get the desired length of the bail that you'd like to have. That looks about right. So I'm going to end this with a single wrap through here, and then I'm going to create my bail. So what I'm going to do, and this is a trick that a lot of people use, they'll take a pencil or a pen, put in the center of the bail itself of where you want it to be, and just wrap it around the pencil or pen. And bring it so it meets in the middle, and pull your pencil or pen out. And that creates the makeshift bail for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap these together now so they stay intact. I'm going to wrap this 6 times. Okay, so now you have the back of your pendant here and the front side here. So all of your designing is going to be happening on the 2 longer wires, simply because you have more things or more room to work with. So let's start designing. So this is a pretty thick stone. So what we're going to do first is open my wires back up, take this and put it in the middle, and then I'm going to kind of push them together. And that creates an outline of the stone for me, as you can see. Okay? So we're going to take the stone back out, and now we can start designing however we want to design. Now this one's going to be a little bit more intricate because of the type of wrap that I'm doing. So I'm just going to start playing with my wire a little bit and start designing. So 2 little loops here. I'll take that behind, and then we'll wrap these around. I'm sure I want to make this as flat. Excuse me. Okay, so we wrap that around 3 times. Okay. And then I'm going to do another 2 loops. Same thing with the other side. And you can do whatever you want to as far as your designs are concerned. You don't have to follow this technique. You can go do whatever you want. You can make it even on both sides. You can take them and make them look very ununiformed, which is what I usually do, just to give it some more interest. I'm going to take that and we're going to wrap this around. So that's the beginning of our design. Okay. Still got these flat, so let's straighten these wires out a bit. So we've got our beginning there. And I'm just going to wrap around 1 wire 3 times. This. Then we're going to take it to the other side. I'm going to go over the top Okay, and that's going to give me a weave that's going to open up as I go because I have my wires separated and creates a little bit more interest in the route that you're doing. Again, over the other side. 3. Over this side. 1, 2, 3. And now you can see the weave is starting. And that's what I'm looking for, is a balance between the two. So let's keep going with this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let up a bit. 1, 2, 3. And again, I wanted to demonstrate what you can actually get from Michael's instead of ordering something more expensive online. And that's the reason why I'm showing you these stones and these wires, is because if you're new, it's going to help you tremendously to start with a less expensive wire than it is to go to buy from, well, let's say, buying sterling silver wire from an actual jewelry company like I do. But you can still make really, really nice pieces of jewelry. Okay, so here we go. This is the part of the actual pendant itself that's coming together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another 2 loops to bring these 2 pieces back together without having to cinch them. So I'm just going to wrap this around once like so, and then wrap this one around. There we go. And this one got a little lopsided, so let's move this one up. And now they're twisted, so let's untwist them. Pull this one up just a little bit tighter. So it mirrors the other side slightly. There we go. Okay, now this also gives us the opportunity to work with the back. So if you need to pull anything forward around the back to the front, that's also going to help you once you move to the back of your project or your actual wire itself. So now I have these 2 together, so I'm just going to wrap these around 3 times. Straighten your wires out again. Okay, now you can also use I have a box with some tabs that stick up out of them. I don't have it on me at the moment, but I do have one. But one thing that you can do is you can play with that by using the wires and wrapping around those before you start doing something like this. That way you have something more intricate without having to just justify where your stone is going to end up. I want to make this so it's a little open on the bottom, so the point actually shows. That would be pretty. Okay, so let's hold this close and pull these around. So, and then bring them back together. And pull these up out of the way. Okay, so now I have the base of my stone set from top to bottom. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this around a few more times. but I'm not pulling the wires closer together because I want that point to still show at the bottom of the pendant. All right, so now I'm going to pull this through the center of the two so I can pull this to the back of the stone. Okay. Let's put this in. It's going to be the actual setting. Separate your wires. Pull those down. Okay, now what I need to do is make 2 more loops on this side because I'm going to have to, at some point, anchor the sides just slightly so the stone doesn't slip out. So there's one. I'm trying to keep this as even as possible. There's 2. So this is actually going to help me balance the stone on the back side. Okay. So I've said before, I wrap this around just one part of the wrap. So I'm going to pull this to the back this way and put my stone in. Now this is where it becomes difficult when it comes to these types of wraps, is you have to maintain everything on front to back with your wires while you are attaching everything together. So I'm going to pull this through. Just that where it's supposed to be. And I'm putting it through those 2 loops that I just made. There we go. Okay, so that's one side. And I'm going to put it through one more time, just for safety of measure. Then I'm going to go over to the other side. Two. And 3. There we go. So now I'm going to take this one just like I did before and bring it up to the front. So, and that is going to secure our stone in place. Now at this point, before you tighten everything, make sure your point is where it's supposed to be, your wires are where it's supposed to be. Because you may not have the opportunity moving forward to adjust them. Now we're going to go back over here. I'm going to put this where the 2 wires come together again. I'm going to wrap this around 6 times. Go. Okay, now, since I have everything anchored, now I have the option to pull these together on the sides. So I'm not physically bending them all the way. I'm just kind of shaping. And that allows me to have the stone in a setting. Okay. So these two pieces here, the end pieces, I'm just going to make little loops out of them. So I really didn't need them as much as I thought I was going to. Go ahead and get those out of the way. Take these individually on the sides, like so. And I'm just going to make kind of spirals, if you would, or a little loop, as I like to call them. Make sure they are closed. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is take the two wires from the back, I'm going to wrap them around the front like so. And then I'm going to clip them this, and they're going to go into the back of my bale. Nice and tight and secure. Same with the other side. Pull it and push it into your bale. Just like that. Okay. And then you have these two hoops or loops from the back. I'm just going to push them down. And the same with these on the front. Push them down. I'll meet up together. You still have this wire. If you want to, you can go ahead and secure the loops on the top, which is really not a bad idea. Go through the top of the bale like this. The other side. And put through your loop up here. Okay. Okay, and we're just going to cut this one loose. First we can. And we're going to wrap that into a piece so you don't have anything sticking out. So that is our quartz piece. Very simple, nothing hard to do, and nothing intricate by any means. But this time, I'm going to go a little bit more intricate on the next piece. So let's go back to another pink quartz. And let's go with a copper wire. And that sounds a little funny, but I really, as you guys know, I love copper wire. Do this one a little bit more intricate. Them together. Let's go with 3. I always have a habit of doing 3s. I don't know if it's something because of how I wrap or what have you, but I like to do 3s when it comes to wire. And I think I'm not gonna do this one. This one is too long, so let's pick out a different stone altogether. Let's get my jars of stones that I purchased from my wholesaler. Getting a drink of water, sorry. And let's put the silver wires away. Because for some reason I'm craving to do something intricate, but I don't want to do it in silver wire again. Yet the stones that I have are not round enough. So we're going to go into my little personal stash here. And pick something else out from my wholesaler. Let's see. Let's do... Let's do a little piece of hematite. I'm going to pop that out of... There we go. And this came from my wholesaler. Keep everything in a jar when it comes to my wholesaler. But I think this will look really nice with the copper wire. Let's push that aside and let's pick out a copper wire to work with. I'm going to go with a 26 gauge. Just slightly thicker than what I normally work with, but I love copper wire. It's so beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to pull probably about 5 feet of copper wire in 26 gauge. This is 18 gauge copper wire for my base. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Now again, this one, if you're just starting to watch the video, this is going to be a long wrap. This is going to be a little bit more intricate. So do bear with me. If you stay with me, thank you. If not, you can always fast forward, especially if you didn't catch this live. Let's do copper base. This one. And I'm going to leave a tail end here. This is, I think you probably know this type of wrap to be like one of my wraps that I call infinity. And the infinity wrap is because I make everything the exact same and then I wrap it around to match the stone. So let's start with this infinity wrap. And we're just going to wrap these two together. Let's go over 3 times. Oh no, we're doing something different. Let's do 6 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Take our third wire, bring that into play. And let's do an opposite weave. Let's do 2 and 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When we're doing this type of rub, you have to pull everything together every now and then. You're not staying like it's supposed to. We'll go over to this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Squish that together. Back on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Squish it together. Side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see how it's starting to come together. If I flip it over, you'll see the reverse side is just about the same. But just remember, keep everything squeezed together the best way you possibly can when you're doing this sort of thing, because you're alternating going in between wires. 3, 4, 5, 6. Squeeze. Other side. Pull it over. And this is more of a wrap that is more contemporary, more modern, rather than just doing a basic wire wrap. Push that together. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you guys probably can guess right now why I do a lot of faster speeds on my tutorial videos that I put on YouTube, because this can take a while to do, especially during a live session. So if you stay with me, I greatly appreciate it. But this does take a little time. Unless you want to follow along, which is great. This one over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got a little ahead of myself. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My hand is cramping up. Okay. So now as you're going, you're going to want to eventually measure the stone against your weave. So I'm going to do that in just a moment. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A couple more times. 5, 6. Okay, let's measure it against the stone. So again, this is what the weave looks like. Just going 6 one way, then 6 the other way, crossing over 2 in both directions. So when you measure your stone, you're going to start off with where you actually started your weave, which is here, not the point where you started wrapping the wire. So we're going to go 1, oops, slippery stone. Just want to roll your stone the best way you can. Cross, I can already tell it's going to fit. So I'm going to start moving it around. So at this point, you want to move your wire this way and then move it the way that you want to put it in place for the setting. The reason why I do that is because it separates and tightens all of the wires that you have in the weave that you've created. Okay. So now we're going to test this. Okay, so that will hold this down. And just adjust any way that you want to. I'm going to open that up a little bit. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to take the tail ends that I have here. I'm going to pull them to the back. Now, mind you, your hand may cramp up a little bit because this wire is now getting a little tighter or a little harder to work with. So I wrap that around to the back. So I'm going to bring it over the front one more time. Okay. And my tail is still here. I'm wrapping it underneath. And take this and I'm going to pull it straight down across the back. Okay, that's going to help support the stone. So now what I'm going to do is take my stone, just make sure it fits in there as to where you can't see those wires in the back. Okay, like so. So now that the stone is in place, it's not secured, but it's being held by these back wires just for the time being. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take my stone out because I'm going to start working on the portion of the pendant for the bail. So I'm going to straighten these up. Start the pattern for the bail. And I'm going to cramp these down a little bit. Okay. I have my tail and my wire and my wrapping wire behind the actual setting. I'm going to open these 3 up. Now, what I'm going to do for this is I want to keep it more streamlined, just very simple, very contemporary looking. I could continue with the same pattern here, or I can change it at this point because now you've secured everything around to the front. This gives you an opportunity if you want to change things. So since I want to keep it contemporary because the stone is very shiny, very smooth, it is hematite. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and continue doing what I was doing. 4, 5, 6. Okay, now I can change this, which I am going to change it actually. Let's change it up. Let's go this way and wrap it around this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now I've got 6 and 6. It's similar to what we have here, but now I'm going to just take the third one and wrap it around 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll push that into place. Then I'm going to reverse everything I just did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Push that together. Then Then come back down to the bottom of the first wire. Remove your top wire. Pull these in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm actually creating kind of a pyramid effect on the wires. So I'm going to start again. I'm at the bottom. I'm going to take this one out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, just the top wire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure that stays in close. And again, the mirror effect going backwards. 3, 4, 5, 6. And lastly, the bottom, just like we started off with. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So now you can see the actual design of the wire of what I'm creating. So we're going to push these all together. Make sure everything is in line the way it's supposed to be. Alright. And I'm going to create my bail. So I'm going to do this one more time going upward and then down because I want this bail to be a little bit bigger. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull that down. Top one only. Oops. That does happen sometimes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Push in place. Again, 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Push that into place. This is going to be the last one. Then we're going to create the bail and start adding the stem to the design and adding some intricate swirls and things to the actual design itself. 1, 2, 3. Let me do that over. Not as smooth as what I want it to be. Three, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Okay, so this is our bail. So what I'm going to do now is make this into a bail. Now you could do the roll with the pencil if you want. Just take your pencil, wrap it around, and you've got your bail. Or you could just use your fingers, whichever is easier. But now you have the bail. But as you notice, it looks a little lopsided. So that's why this becomes an infinity pendant. Is I'm going to move this bail over slightly. And twist it out. I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and move that over like so. So it actually becomes another loop and looks like an infinity symbol. Okay. So now I have my infinity symbol and my bail. Now I can start using these wires to decorate around the rest of the pendant. But before I do that, I want to secure my stone. So I'm going to take this and pull this out a little bit, lift my back wires like I did before, put my stone in the way I wanted it to be, and then pull down. Okay. Now, I'm going to use this wire that I used for the bail to secure the stone. So what I need to do is I need to be very discreet, not to interrupt the design that I have on the front. So what I'm going to do is take this wire and pull it through to the front. Like so. And this is also attaching the last ending of your bail to the pendant itself. Excuse me. Okay. So whenever you're wrapping a stone to secure it, you want to make it look like it's a part of the design in the front. So I'm wrapping this all the way around and then carefully placing it to the back. And my stone fell out. That's perfectly normal. Especially with a stone this slippery. Okay, now these extra wires back here, I'm using it to anchor. So I wrapped that around a few times. My stone fell out again. Again, that is perfectly normal. It's not really secure. So don't panic if that happens. Just put it back in. Or you can leave it out too. Okay, and I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put it through the front again. Again, flipping over to make sure that where you put that wire, it looks like it's a part of the original design. And in some cases, you're not going to be able to avoid doing that. So just be careful when you're doing this sort of thing. Okay, so we're going to wrap around here. A few times. And now this is where it becomes a little more difficult because the stone itself is now getting anchored into the setting. You're going to want to hold it in place because now you're going over the stone instead of around the front of the actual pendant itself. We're going to pull that through the back to the front and holding it steady. Make sure it's secured. Now your stone should be more secured than what it was. Okay, if you can look over stone, it should be okay at this point. So I'm just going to wrap this around again. I'm following the same path as the previous wrap that I just put through. Okay, so I need to make another point of security for the stone in the back on these other wires or my anchor wires. Pull those up. Again, through to the front. And this is the reason why I didn't match the actual stone to the setting perfectly, is you've got to create some leg room to work with so you can anchor your stone in place. Here we go. So again, looking at the front, matching it. Go through again. Pulling it tight. Matching the path of the other wrap that you just did. Pulling it through. Okay, So I'm going to leave this here, but if you notice on the bottom, I have a little short piece of wire. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to curl this wire into a loop. Just like that. Now that's going to secure everything that I just did at the final point of anchoring my stone, which is a really good thing. Okay, so now my stone is very secure. It's definitely in there. It's not going anywhere. The hematite is not going anywhere at all. So now I can stop using this wire if I want to, which would be a good thing to do at this point, considering that I'm not really using it for anything else. So let's go ahead and put this through a couple more times. At least once, because we have it through twice. Just secure it in place. Again, minding where you're putting the wire. Okay. And then since this is now secured by this wire here, I'm going to go underneath and pull that around, and I'm going to cut it. At the point now, I can tuck this safely and securely underneath those other wires. There we go. So that is flat against the back of the stone, okay? So now these other wires, you have an opportunity if you want to bring them around the front to create an overlap design, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take these two additional wires and just pull them around like so, okay? And then I'm going to tuck them into the setting piece. Like that. Okay, so you're giving yourself a little leverage on the back here, but you're also creating a little bit of an intricate piece on the front. So now again, we're going back to the bail wires. We're going to straighten those out. There we go. Okay, so now I don't have any wire to work with at this point. So what I'm going to do, because my stone is still sticking out a little bit over here, I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to put a curl in it right here just to secure that. And then I'm going to take this wire and put it through the actual setting. And this is a little bit tough to do because you have your stone set. So you have to force it. I'm going to take this and pull this through like that. Now that's also going to give us a little bit of intricate detail, but you're also securing the stone in the back. Okay. So now that I did that, I could take this and do that again around the front if I wanted to. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to soften our wire a little bit by heating it up with our fingers. And then push that through again. Now this time it shouldn't be so hard to push through because you generated a gap to get the wire through the first time. Wow, I can't talk today. Okay, so you want to make sure that is going through and that is secured. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this piece of wire. So I'm going to take this and make a little loop in the back, like so, and I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to loop that around into the back of the pendant. making sure that there is no sharp edges on that. Okay, so that is our one of our wires in the back that was the supporting wire. Now, what I want to do with this is I kind of want to go around the outside. So I also want to have a wire that's going to help secure that. So I'm going to need another piece of wire. And this time I'm going to use a 30 gauge wire. And the 30 gauge wire is very much like a thread. It's very, very, very thin. And it also can be very, very hard to work with because of it being so thin. It can kink very, very easily. So you want to be very careful. I'm using a lot of varies today. So I'm going to do is move one wire out of the way. And this was my middle wire. I'm going to wrap this around a few times. Like so. And I'm going to tuck that in as far as I can. Now I have my tail. So my tail, I'm going to wrap it around also, which you're not going to be able to see because the wire is so thin. But that's the point of having this type of wire. So now that I have that in there, I'm going to wrap this around both wires a few times. So that was 3 times, as you can maybe see it, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. So I wrapped it around 3 times. Let's do 6 because this wire is so thin and it catches on everything. 4, 5, 6. Okay. So now I'm going to do is start bending this wire around the outside, and I'm going to create an anchor point. So moving this behind like so. Create an anchor point for this wire. I'm going to pull this through in between the other wire design. Now, when you're working with wire this thin, you want to make sure you put your finger over the top of the wire that you're pulling it through so it doesn't kink. That's one of my tips that I have when working with a very, very thin wire. Okay, so now I created that anchor point. Okay, now I'm going to wrap this again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I'm going to move this around a little bit again. And we're going to create another anchor point. Let's do it down here. Oops. That got tangled. Go. Okay, so this is another anchor point that I created. Now, I like this piece here. It became a little flat, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to move it around the front. So move that around the front of the design. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to pull this through for here. Now, do I have enough room to do what I want to do? I don't think so. Okay. So I'm going to take one of these wires and make a little loop out of it. Okay. Because I can. And I'm going to wrap around 3, 4, 5, 6. Go. So now I'm going to move this down here. Create another anchor point. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. It's actually becoming a little bit more Victorian than I want, but that's okay. Okay, I'm actually pulling this from the back to secure this. I'm going to take this and pull it up this way. And create another anchor point right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is like a wire layering, if you would. I'm going to pull this over the top like that. I just think it looks nice. So again, going through the back to the front. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Trying to go in from the back again, but it doesn't look like it wants to. I'm going to cut this a little shorter because that end is getting a little frayed to work with. So as you can see, when you start with a very simple design, you can end up with something quite intricate and beautiful that a lot of people are going to love. Yeah. Okay, so this actually just broke off, which is fine because it went through the back anyway. And there's nothing about that that's going to harm anything. So I'm just going to take this piece here and pull it around. And then I'm going to cut these short, attach it, into My bad. Here we go. So that is our infinity pendant. And that is with hematite. Got that little the way there. But it is quite intricate. This is the intricate one I wanted to do for you today. And then we have our other two, which are basic wraps. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I have making them. And I hope you have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.